1,200 years ago, artisans in India created the largest monolithic monument on the planet. But while most grand structures are built by stacking stones from the ground up, the Kailasa temple at Ellora was carved entirely from the top down, directly into a single mountain. These vertical rock walls define the perimeter. Workers excavated a 10-story trench, removing 200,000 tons of solid basalt, an area matching a football field. A single rock leaves no room for correction. These base elephant sculptures were carved at the absolute end. A single chisel misstep would be permanent. There was no way to patch the mountain. The sheer logistical difficulty of extracting that much stone with manual tools has led many to conclude that the temple required superhuman intervention or even extraterrestrial technology. Academics were equally puzzled. In 1952, archaeologist Hermann Goetz identified 10 distinct regional art styles here. He argued that such stylistic diversity meant the project must have spanned 5 centuries, involving 8 different kings and multiple generations of workers. In 1982, that 500-year timeline was discarded. New analysis of historical inscriptions proved the temple was completed in roughly 12 years, not through alien intervention, but through a highly disciplined system of manual engineering. Archaeologist M.K. Devalekar re-evaluated the site by analyzing newly discovered copper plate inscriptions. His research confirmed that construction occurred entirely during the 18-year reign of the Rashtrakuta king, Krishna I. In 757 CE, King Krishna led his army to victory against the neighboring Chalukya dynasty. While moving through the conquered territory, he encountered a structure that would change his imperial ambitions. This is the Virupaksha temple, the very site that inspired King Krishna. He set out to replicate this intricate Chalukyan design at Ellora, but at twice the scale and carved from a single massive rock. To achieve this, Krishna claimed the architects and sculptors of the Virupaksha temple as war prizes. He brought this defeated team to Ellora, along with Pallava artists from the south, who had previously been integrated into the Chalukyan workforce. These exterior walls show the result of that multi-regional workforce. The Chalukyan and Pallava artists brought expertise in complex design and sculpture, while the local Rashtrakuta artisans specialized in heavy-duty rock cutting. The 10 regional styles Goetz identified were actually the result of this specific historical moment. 3 rival dynasties were forced to collaborate on a single mountain, concentrating centuries of specialized knowledge into one 12-year window. This workforce followed the Manasara, an ancient Indian architectural text that provided the mathematical principles for monolithic construction. The process began with site selection. Master architects, known as Sthapatis, struck the basalt hills of Ellora with specialized tools and listened to the acoustic feedback. By hearing the resonance of the stone, they identified sections of the mountain that were free of internal cracks. To isolate the temple block without machinery, workers used a sequence of manual drilling. They created a precise dotted line of deep holes around the perimeter of the future courtyard. Next, they hammered dry wooden wedges into each hole. When water was poured over them, the timber expanded. This generated enough internal pressure to fracture the basalt, perfectly splitting the rock along the wedges. This technique allowed for the removal of massive chunks of stone. But the timeline still depends on the sheer volume of material, nearly 2 million cubic feet of rock. The math of the construction is surprisingly straightforward. If a team of 250 workers removed 4 cubic feet of rock per day, they would clear over 365,000 cubic feet a year. At that pace, the entire trench would be excavated in just 5.5 years. Because the project was carved from the top down, the fine sculpting didn't have to wait for the excavation to finish. As soon as the central block's upper sections were visible, design teams began carving the spires and roofs, while diggers continued working below. This simultaneous workflow was the key to their speed. By combining expanding wood chemistry with a highly disciplined, multi-layered management system, they completed the impossible complex in roughly 12 years. One logistical question remains. If 200,000 tons of stone were removed from this trench, why is there no trace of a massive debris pile anywhere near the Ellora site? This vintage photograph shows how centuries of exposure can reshape a landscape. Archaeologists suggest the excavated stone was broken into small rubble and used for the foundations of nearby roads or buildings. Any remaining fragments of basalt would have simply eroded into the local soil over the last 1,300 years. The techniques used at Kailasa represent centuries of architectural evolution. Generations of artisans perfected these methods at sites like Elephanta long before King Krishna's reign, building the cumulative knowledge required to attempt a project of this scale. Kailasa is a physical record of mathematical mastery and human collaboration. Rather than a mystery requiring alien intervention, it stands as a monument to what can be achieved when ancient engineering and disciplined project management are pushed to their absolute limits.